So using a graphic user interface with Raspbian, it's nice to use that, right? You don't always want to be working from the terminal. And most of the commands we've been talking about so far, we've been talking about using them at the terminal. But with Linux, it is really useful to be able to use the terminal. That's why we're talking through it. But most of the time, you might want to use the GUI. So, and certainly you can have both options. So you can run the GUI and start a terminal from within the GUI. That's basically what I do. I have the GUI running, and then I have the terminal. I can create terminals inside that, so I can use both. So, if you boot up your machine and you don't have the GUI, you boot it straight into the terminal, then you can type startx to start the GUI. Startx starts what's called the X windowing system. That's a window system that's usually used with Linux and certainly with Raspbian. Now, the Windows system has what's called a window manager. We're not going to go into depth, but the window manager determines the look of the graphic user interface. Now, we're not going to get sophisticated about this, but if you wanted to, you can get that thing looking however you want. You can make it look, they have window managers that look just like Windows or look just like Mac. You can make it look exactly the way you want. This is unlike operating systems like Windows and Mac OS and stuff like this, where they are associated with their graphic user interface, right? Like when you see Windows, it looks a certain way. When you see Mac, it looks a certain way. Linux, you can have it look however you want based on the window manager that you choose. Now, we're not going to go changing the window manager. We'll use the default one. But understand that Linux has this flexibility. The operating system is separate from the graphics. So you can grab whatever window manager you want, or you can make your own if you wanted to. So this is you only use startx to start the windowing system if you haven't configured Raspbian to go to the desktop, right? Which I recommend that. But if you didn't, then you can do startx and start the graphic user interface too. The manager determines the look. Now here's a snapshot of what my desktop looked like at the time when I recorded this. So I just took a snapshot. You can see that generally it's just like a regular windowing system. So I've got 3 windows up right now. You can see a desktop in the top bar. I have some icons up there that programs are attached to. There's a menu, upper left button where you can get a menu of things to do. On my desktop in the background, you can see a bunch of files, which are actually the screenshots that I made these slides out of, all right? And then I got 3 windows open, 2 of which are terminal windows. So I got the top terminal window, bottom terminal window, then to the right, I've got a file manager window, which I'll talk about in a second. But this is typical. It's just a regular old Windows system, and you can do, I'm assuming you're familiar with these type of windowing systems. If you ever use a Windows or a Mac machine, you know what they look like, and they're all pretty darn similar. File manager is useful. The icon to start the file manager on the desktop is like a top bar. It's a little icon that looks like a file drawer, a couple of file drawers. You click on that, it'll start the file manager. And this is just a regular file interface. You got folders and files in there. You can double click on a file to open it or to execute it if it's executable. Double click on a folder to go into the directory and so on. So stuff that you're used to. Similar to Windows Mac, same thing. Thank you.